It seems that everyone's talking about the Huawei P20 Pro, but the regular P20 is also a flagship phone that was recently announced. It has a similar design with a notch display, all new dual Leica camera setup, and great specs. As always, if you want to learn all the pros and cons of this device, stay tuned to the full TechLine HD review. Just before we start, the phone costs about 650 euros. I will leave all the links down below if you are interested. The P20 ships just with a cable, a charger, a pair of earphones, a headset jack adapter, and SIM ejector pin. Finally, retail units will have a case, but I'm not sure if it will look the same as the one I have, which is pretty nice. Once you pick the P20 up, you're definitely going to feel that it is a smaller phone than the P20 Pro, and that's a good thing. It's easier to manage the device in one hand. I have a pink gold color option that has a gradient finish. That means that the phone changes the looks in different lighting. In practice, I love the way the P20 looks and feels. The build quality is nothing short of a true flagship thanks to the metal frame and slightly curved glass backplate. Even though the display on the P20 is slightly smaller than the one found on the P20 Pro, it sparks the same resolution. The phone uses LCD panel instead of OLED, but I found the quality of screen to be very good. Inside the notch, you can find a beefy 24-megapixel selfie shooter and the earpiece that doubles as a loudspeaker. Together with a second speaker on the bottom, it makes a great sounding stereo system. Just a bit more information about the notch. You can hide it if you don't like it. One major difference between the Huawei P20 Pro and the P20 is the camera setup. Well, the P20 does not have 3 cameras like the P20 Pro, but it ships with a brand new dual Leica system that is capable of taking very good images too. I will talk about cameras in detail a bit later in this review. Another difference, the P20 has a lower IP53 water and dust resistance rating. Honestly, I forgot about it when I was shooting a video and I kept the phone underwater for quite some time. Good news is that the phone survived and it works as new. However, I don't recommend you submerging your P20 underwater like I did. Other features are pretty much identical to the P20 Pro. You get a super fast and reliable fingerprint scanner and Face ID that usually works very well, and it allows you to unlock the phone very fast. You also get a nice LED notification light, but the phone does not have the headset jack, so you will need to listen to music using the supplied adapter. Sound quality is really good, just like on the P20 Pro. The Huawei P20 ships with almost the same specs as the P20 Pro, but it has just 4 GB of RAM instead of 6. In practice, I didn't really notice that. I usually start testing phones with playing 3D games to make the processor and GPU work. The overall gaming experience is great as games usually load fast, there is no stutter or lag even if you play the most demanding titles. The performance is great, identical to the P20 Pro. Just like the Huawei P20 Pro, the P20 runs on Android 8.1, but it looks a lot different than stock Google's user interface. As I said in the P20 Pro review that I suggest you checking out, I got used to using Huawei phones that run on the EMUI. Yes, it's different, but it has grown on me and I mostly like it for its speed and flexibility. I've used the P20 for more than 2 weeks and I'm yet to see the phone lag or stutter. Huawei assures that the phone will remain fast even after 2 years, since the AI-powered Kirin 970 chipset has integrated neural processing unit that helps allocate resources to the specific task every time you use the phone. Well, so far so good. I also like the extra features and customization options Huawei implemented. I can't say that I need all of them, but I found some features to be very useful. Well, it may feel weird at first, but I love running 2 apps side by side by drawing a line in the middle of the screen using a knuckle. That's just one of many features Huawei gives you with this phone. I found the camera app to be really fast and easy to use. My favorite shooting modes include a Pro, Portrait, Aperture, and Night mode. One thing that bothers me is that you need to switch the resolution to 10 megapixels if you want to use optical zoom. It's really annoying and I wish resolution could switch automatically. Speaking of that zoom, pictures look really nice and sharp. Daylight image quality is very good thanks to no small part of AI-powered camera app that detects the scene and applies the best camera settings automatically. As I said in the full P20 Pro review, some images may look oversaturated and punchier than usual, but I don't think it's a bad thing since most of the images you take are probably going to end up on social media anyway, and they will look nice out of the box. To be honest with you, it's hard to see a difference between the quality of daylight pictures of the P20 and the P20 Pro. Both phones can take wonderful photos. Portrait and aperture modes are used to take pictures with bokeh effect, and I think that the overall image quality is pretty good. The objects are sharp and nicely separated from the background with just minimal artifacts. Low light is where the P20 shines. Well, if you use the auto mode, the pictures could have less noise and grain, but a dedicated night mode does all the magic. You can take long exposure shots without using a tripod thanks to AI-powered optical image stabilization system. While the quality of pictures is slightly worse than on the P20 Pro, it's still very good and among the best in the game. 4K video is very sharp, detailed, continuous autofocus is reliable and super fast, but video stabilization does not work in 4K mode and you end up with shaky footage. That's really frustrating, but hopefully this can be improved with the future software updates, since the hardware is there. If you don't need 4K, 1080p video looks much better in terms of smoothness. The footage is very stable and it looks nice, but obviously you're losing sharpness of 4K. It's worth mentioning that quality of video is very similar or even identical to the Huawei P20 Pro's quality. 1080p selfie video looks pretty nice as there is plenty of detail and sharpness, and sound recording quality is good. Shot at 30 frames per second. So as you can see, today is quite a sunny but also a bit cloudy day. The weather conditions, lighting conditions are pretty good, can't complain. You can also record short clips at 960 fps in 720p and the quality is quite decent. The P20 has great mics and earpiece that assure good call quality. I also found signal reception to be very good and other connectivity options like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi and GPS work just fine. Finally, there are plenty of sensors to choose from, just like on the Huawei P20 Pro. Battery life is definitely one of the strong sides of the P20. Even though it has a smaller power bank than the P20 Pro, it has a less power-hungry display to power up. On average, I was able to achieve about 7 hours of screen on time, which is a very impressive result. Finally, you can charge the device in just about 1.5 hours using the supplied Huawei's fast charger. The Huawei P20 shapes up to be a solid all-around smartphone that costs less than P20 Pro and other flagships out there. It's smaller and lighter than the P20 Pro, yet it sports the same good build and very similar design. I also like the P20 for its nice and sharp display, great overall performance, very good cameras and solid battery life. However, the P20 shares similar issues to the P20 Pro. 4K video lacks image stabilization, there is no headset jack, no microSD card slot, and no wireless charging. At the end of the day, the P20 is still a very good smartphone despite a few flaws. In fact, it is a legit flagship phone that costs less than the P20 Pro, but it has most of its essential features that are packed into a premium metal and glass body, with a notch. But what do you guys think about the Huawei P20? Drop me a comment down below. Also drop me a comment down below if you have any questions. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. It was Linus, thank you for watching and see you soon.